Hello everyone, this is Daniel, and well, let me just talk about this one thing about how entertainment in its own way can really disrupt a person's life. So have you noticed that you say, oh, there's negative energy and there's all kinds of negative energy? Well, there's one thing that Pentecostals have right, and mostly they have everything else wrong, but they have a lot of things wrong, I might say, but they don't have everything wrong. And that there's really such thing as negative energy. No, it cannot be possessed, that's what they have wrong. But there is such a thing as negative energy from entertainment. You know, for a person that has watched a lot of crime movies, they'll be cowardly and just be so sad and all that, depressed, things like that. They'll be cowardly and depressed. But that's just natural. What if I told you that there was a moment in some movies where there's actually witchcraft playing the role in that one part of the movie, and I don't know which roles they are because I don't pay attention to them that much. And that witchcraft is actually making the people's lives miserable just by saying, well, I don't know, let's say kind of had, and there's one scene in it that's all really depressing and exciting, and in the middle of that one scene, a lot of people go insane and crazy, and there's all kinds of commotion. And I'm like going, okay, that's interesting. And then there's also some scenes in movies that make people literally, like an intense scene might have some witchcraft played into it, like a dramatized as well, and the people become very energetic and very like there's a lot of breakups in the no, what is it called, divorce because of certain scenes in movies. That actually does happen. But there's a lot of divorces and breakups due to scenes in the movies. Like maybe there's a love story and there's like maybe just a sad moment in the movie and maybe a sad moment in a like a film or like maybe a natural documentary or something like that, and there's a sad moment and then there's a lot of depression and sadness, and then there's also death, and the scene of death is what makes breakups happen, and there's a lot of depression in that, and then there's breakups, and then there's death in a scene that causes the person to think suicidal thoughts, and then they commit suicide. It's horrible. I know it is, because I mean, some scenes have caused a lot of commotion in my lifetime, and that's some of them in some of the scenes in the action movies. I've experienced it a few times, quite a few actually. It happens more than you think. And actually, there has to be a lot. There has to be a certain amount of people to actually have that happen. Um, with the scene of death, and it being dramatized, and there's witchcraft playing in that part. Well, just imagine that, but with two people, then there's pretty much breakup. What about a riled up scene or something like that? That involves like 4 to 6 people or more, depending on the circumstance in the scene, and that causes problems, you know. Then there's also other things like music. I was gonna do one at a time, but yeah, I was gonna do now. Now I'm gonna do music. Like, have you noticed that the entertainment in Hollywood is just horrible? Like, for the 30s, for instance, they have a certain type of costume that's like very perverse looking and very perverted. Like they would always have that look with those eyes in cartoons and in live action. That look is actually like really like predatorial. That started the pedophiles actually. They didn't learn that until the 90s, obviously. Well, they didn't really learn that until the 90s. They kind of learned it in the 70s, but no one thought about it until 2000, actually, and later. Then there's also another cartoon type of thing. I don't know, like with Dragon Ball Z, which started bestiality, I think it was. I don't know. It's bad. And a lot of people are not really thinking about, well, okay, if we think about this, it's like, oh, well, let's just... No, actually, the drag queen started look in the 50s and 60s of rebellion, and that started the drag queens, and that started the gay thing back in the 50s, and then especially in the 60s. Yeah, I think it started by what was it called? Not by Snow White, but obviously I think it's something like Sleeping Beauty as well, and things like that, and Peter Pan has also had that, so it started in the early 50s. That type of rebellious type of look is actually started the gay agenda. So obviously we have Dragon Ball Z and other animes, things like that started bestiality in Japan, but I don't think that's going to start. I don't know, but you know, it's something to think about, really, because those eyes are like beastly eyes, very beastly, you know, very controlling. It's really the eyes that matter, and the facial expressions that's secondary. And, you know, let's just say, it's just getting worse. So every, let's say 90, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, every 60 years maybe, like 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 10, yeah, that's every 6, not 10, but say every 60 years from that cartoon stance, so 60 years, 6 months, and 6 days, that starts something from that starts something. It happens from that. I think it's like, I think back in, the whole thing started back in the 80s, so 1980, 1982, 1984. So let's just say 84, 94, 2004, 14, 24, 34, 44. I'm really old. I'm really pervert. And that's 44, and that's going to be like bestiality for the new generation. It's going to be a future generation problem, that the future generation is going to be all about bestiality. I know that for a fact. And not to mention, in music, I'm going to go there now, that there are certain satanic sounds that are quite literally, well, satanic, but also the themes of the song. I don't know how to describe it, like the electric sound, maybe, for one instance, or maybe sound. Yeah. Please be born again. Please, you'll understand if you're born again. There are certain sounds to music that is really satanic, like everything is darkness in those music and sounds. Like in Michael Jackson, in his theme, especially, like, not as his later one, but yeah, like Beat It. It was supposed to be different. It was supposed to be a lot more mellow, but a lot more satanic. And I'm glad he didn't do it, but he was like, beat it for a reason. Like, he said that it was too much for him. Just too much satanic stuff for him. He was probably going over like Genie and all. Like, Genie, where it's not my, Genie is not my son or something like that. Genie is not my daughter. He was going over that, and that type of song maybe overdid it with him because of his deal with Satan. I don't know what's going on, but I know that his heart was not truly the worst of evil that there possibly would be. There was Beat It, and then there was the one with the zombies, obviously. And that is propagating like Antichrist worship, and there's also modern songs that are really seriously propagating Antichrist worship, especially in the 80s. I mean, the 80s was all about Antichrist, and I believe it's like 40 years and all of that. So from 1982 and 1981, there's really the Antichrist in 1980 especially. And then from there on, it's like the Antichrist is up until like 1987, and that's when it stopped. Okay. So, like, for instance, I don't know, like, listen to some of the songs in the 80s. Like, you'll understand that it's really propagating the Antichrist. Like, even especially songs today, it's like propagating songs of Satanism and Antichrist and all that. It's all about the theme, not about the lyrics. It's all about the sound, and not about what the lyrics does, but about what the sound does. There's very simple sounds, and you can easily hear it, like the whistle of the flute, and another sound that starts before it, the alarm sound that prepares you for a battle. But this music's a lot more complex, but also literally makes you want to be part of the Antichrist system, and literally wants you to become part of the sexual system, and literally makes you want to become part of literally the beast system and the animal system and all that. It's complex, I know, but it really does that, and they know how to do that very, very well. And then there's also idol worship in the songs. Very easy for them to do. It sounds like Chinese songs. Not literally, but it sounds like the Chinese type of idol worship. Like Eastern type of it sounds like Eastern worship, where the songs are Eastern. That's what it sounds like for most of these songs that are basically about idol worship. There's also, there's a lot of them. But then there's Satanism, which is mostly Halloween, and the days before that are all about Satanism. And then there's, gay agenda is horrible, because it sounds so fat and sounds so forceful, and it wants to blow you out of the way and blow a hole right through a sealed door and grab at God and snatch and go away by a rainbow behind its, And that's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like the gay agenda pushing you away, and it's running at you horribly, but by air. It's running at you by air. It's horrible. I know this doesn't make sense, but it sounds like forceful air that's like the perverted rainbow, which is like a rainbow fart that SpongeBob did, apparently. I mean, does it get any further than that? I think so, because you don't know what I'm talking about. It's like that lady that did You Have to Calm Down by Taylor Swift. You Have to Calm Down. It is serious, gay agenda right there. Especially the music videos, like all cotton candy for us, all the rainbows we can get, and you're nothing but bland colors and gray, black and white. That's what they're saying. They're literally mocking God right there. And they're going to get worse. They're going to go to blasphemy the Holy Spirit. That's what they're going to get at. So, the songs make people gay. I'm sorry, but it does. Even in the 80s and 70s and 60s, it made people gay. But not quite as much. Like, lady looks like a woman. Dude look like a woman is literally making people gay. And I'm sorry, that's the main song back then that had people becoming gay, and then today it's all getting worse. And no one's, none of the youth, none of the kids at school have a fighting chance to deal with this song. I may sound like a nut, but this is, okay, the reason I'm telling you this right now is because I've had experience in the satanic occult. Diamond Desification, you know this. And you can tell everyone what you've noticed in the past too. Tell everyone Diamond Desification. If they have questions, then tell them Diamond Desification. Because I've been a Satanist before, and I know what it feels like. Before I was a Satanist, I was a child, I had no idea what this music was all about. I was like, oh, it's nothing, it's no big deal. I was literally singing along with the songs. But not to mention, it turned me into Satanist. So one of the songs, I guess it was, Pink Floyd or the Beatles, either one of them, and a video game as well, so it had to be a combination of things. And I became a Satanist for like 7 years or 6 years. Like 7 years to count, and 6 years, maybe 6.5 years to count. I mean, this is serious stuff. These songs are serious stuff. Diamond Intensification, tell these people. I'm gonna have to tell these people as well. But you, especially Diamond Intensification, because you've been a part of it more than I have. And I have experience with the music. I bet you do have. I bet you do too. I mean, I'm an artist, but you are just experienced with the spirits. You know what's going on, and you have been pretty much jaded for that. I can tell. I can tell that you're very jaded, Diamond Intensification, Jesse. You know, you're completely jaded, but not completely, in a sense that you don't gain salvation. But your spirit has been pretty much burned with Satanism. Even though you can get salvation, there's no way on earth that you're going to get not jaded. I'm sorry, Jesse, but that's the case. I'm the lucky one. I wasn't that far into the occult. But I guess one thing I did was I prayed against the church, and now it's in its downfall. I'm sorry, but that's what the least of Satanism can do. It can do wreckage on everyone's life, even their own. Like, the end result was, after salvation, I went into an institution, you know? Not jail, but you know, the other one, where the insane people go. Not to say I'm not saying now, but yeah, all that backup, not backup, all that clogging of the arteries, all that buildup can do a lot of damage in your life, and you have to clear it away. You know what Satanism does? It clogs up your spiritual arteries. And I am jaded too. Sadly, I'm jaded too. I don't sound like when I preach, thank the Lord, because I'm a witness to everyone else. But when I see horrible things, I just consider people foolish and I laugh at them. I laugh at a lot of horrible things. That's just not the Spirit of God. That's not just me. That's a Satanism that I used to have. And that's never going away. I think that's one of the thorns in my flesh. I think I have another one, but that's one of the thorns in the flesh. Paul had one too, for being a for being a Pharisee. Paul had one for being a Pharisee. A lot of people don't have a thorn in the flesh, but for being a Pharisee or being in a cult, I guess you can consider other cults being like Catholic, like the unsaved Catholic, and the or Roman Catholic is one of them, and then the Muslim and other Eastern religions as being a cult, because Muslim especially, because you know it's like everything is a cult, and then Satanism is worst. Anyway, I think I've just like said enough. I mean, if you have been a Satanist and you became Christian, if you have been a Satanist and you became a Christian some time ago, you will understand what I'm talking about. I mean, let me just say, 1 in a million people will not get this. Or another way I should say it, in a better way, 1 in a million, I should say something else, understand what we've been through. 1 in a million understand what we've been through. Matter of fact, 1 in a million exposes Hollywood. No one else will. That's what I should say. Even if it's not the exact words, because I'm not that not that diligent, or I'm more of that lazy person, but you know, it's 1 in a million, guys. Anyway, I'm tired for work. I'll probably rest again, and yeah. Anyway, just understand that a lot of this is not against you. Really, it's against Satan. But before I go, I do have to say this one thing. This one thing that's very clear to saving you, because I know that the rapture may be just a year, like less than a month away. I know that for a fact. Maybe a little more than a year away, but I do know it could be less than a month away. Yeah, I believe it's in the fall time, like fall tabernacles, like literally, like when Jesus was on the cross, it's like literally when the fall. But before I go, let me explain how to be saved, because you don't want to be left behind in this horrible mess where everything's like several times worse. Several times worse. Anyway, this is salvation. Believe in Jesus. It's just not believe in Jesus that makes you... It's not saying that you believe in Jesus. Like, no. Don't just say you believe in Jesus. You have to be accepting of what He's going to do to you. Choose Him over the world. What does the Bible say? Believe makes it righteous, yes. But wasn't Hitler righteous? No. He was made righteous, but then he's no longer righteous, so he did believe in Jesus, in the Catholic faith. However, there's one thing that he missed. He believed, but he didn't do this. Call out to Jesus, to accept Him as your Lord and Savior, to make you want to go to heaven because you want a change of heart. Call out to Jesus and say, Jesus, I forever want to be with you. I don't want to be part of the world. I accept you as my Lord and Savior. If you have a genuine heart to be in heaven and not to be with sin, everyone wants to go to heaven, but if you have a genuine heart, if you really call out to Jesus to not be part of the world anymore, if you really have a genuine heart to do the things that are right, and just call out to Jesus to do that, that's what Romans 10 is all about, by the way. Then you are forever saved and going to heaven. Doesn't mean you have to do nothing. Like what I'm doing right now. Spread the word. Evangelists just spread the word by whatever means, because they're good at it. However, there's such a thing as evangelizing for the Word of God, as bringing the Word to everyone. So, you know, share this video to whichever means you can do it with. I mean, I don't care if you copy my YouTube video. If you're a popular channel, just copy and paste some of it. You know, if you do all of it, I won't mind either. But YouTube will mind. So just copy and paste if you have legal, you know, permission. However, I do wish you would share with other platforms. I mean, heck, you can share some of it with TikTok and then copy and paste it and do parts and pieces. Yes, you can do that. You can do it live. You can share all of it with TikTok. Matter of fact, you can do it with other things like Facebook. Share it with the world on Facebook. They won't mind, right? If you're very popular, share it with everyone. A matter of fact, if you're popular online, if you're Christian, share this video with everyone online. Because I know, for a fact, that we barely have any time left. Prophecies haven't fulfilled, except not all of them haven't fulfilled. Not all the prophecies have been fulfilled. The only ones that are not fulfilled are basically the masses becoming completely nothing, like a band, like completely nuked, and there's nothing left of Damascus, a ruinous heap. Another thing that's left, you know, a part of Iran's nuclear program is completely flattened, and another one is flattened. No more nukes in Iran, even though they had some. So they should be almost done with their nukes. Russia and Turkey and all the other people like Iran invading Israel. I don't know if that's basically going to be after the rapture or what. Invading Israel and being destroyed. I think that's going to be, I don't know. It doesn't say if it's after the rapture or before the rapture. Just know that these three things are going to happen when the rapture is around the corner. The fourth one already happened. It was the first one, where they're encamping around Israel. I mean, we already have that. However, 3 are left. And we should be in due time in September, so who knows, maybe nuke in Iran being completely gone by going in Damascus to launch a nuclear attack in Israel. Maybe both are going to happen at once. So I wouldn't count on basically the rapture happening within a few months. No, I would count on it happening immediately after you see this. So just believe by calling out to Him and having a genuine heart that you want to be with Jesus instead of being with yourself and the world and all that. Because sin sends everyone to hell. But everyone is going to hell by sin, unless it is one thing. It's calling out to Jesus with a believing heart. Alright, I'll be done, okay?